This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
Here's only you know that I'm on my way. Lightning strikes and then you're gonna know my name. I'm here to claim my time now. I'm here, the king that wears the crown. You better back down, you better back down. I'm the greatest of all time. I'm the greatest of all time. I'm the greatest of all time. I'm the greatest of all. I'm the greatest of all. I'm the greatest of all time. I'm the greatest of all time.
The following program is rated MA-LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, yes, you know that. I know it. We all kind of share that same information. It does not matter who the host is. What matters is who the listeners are. Always has been the case. And that should probably not change anytime in the near future, just for reference purposes. Anyways, how are you? How are things going? How has the last, 48 hours been? No, seriously. How has the last 48 been? So let me tell you, as you might have noticed, I wasn't here yesterday. Had to do a quick little flight to Pittsburgh. Yeah, good old Pittsburgh yesterday. Well, actually, was left Monday, was there yesterday, and then came back today. The reason behind it was I was at the United Steel Workers event that was taking place over there as Todd Conklin was doing the keynote speech. So that's why I was disappeared yesterday, just in case if you were wondering where I was. And if you weren't wondering, well, there you go. It's kind of fine because those things do happen. Anyway, so let's take a look. Today is, what is it? Well, today's Wednesday, April the 19th of 2023, day 109th of the year, and only 256 days left to go. And we are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida. So don't worry about that aspect. So that's where we're coming from. And then we're hanging out with our friends and colleagues at that other place.
Radio Big. USA, Canada, UK.
Yep, hanging out on Radio Big. So don't worry about that because that is what we're doing around here. So a lot of stuff going on in the last 24 to 48 hours, it seems like. Settlements behind the scenes, prisons being built allegedly around theme parks and all that kind of fun stuff. But we'll get into all of that here in just a bit. So let's start talking, I guess, what is on tap, because I think that some people would want to know what is the tappy-appy of what is going on inside of here. So why don't we start talking immediately about what is trending?
Here is what was trending. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so Taylor Swift fans are out of this world, and viewers still aren't convinced that Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelo should work together. We'll talk about that as we get into show business. And at the end of Sight Yellowstone, and David Spade will host a new game show on Fox. We'll talk about all that kind of fun stuff. And then maybe we should talk about this because of Southwest. We'll talk about some of the Southwest stuff. And guess what? I was flying Southwest yesterday. So I got to be involved with some of this. That was kind of a fun part. So anyways, if you're not familiar with the show, it's kind of a simple process. We talk about safety in the news and safety, and then we kind of go here, we go there, we hang out, we move around, we turn inside of the world of everything that's going on. We bring in some professional broadcasters, and they broadcast their little heart's desires away of what is going on inside of the world. So don't worry about that, because they will take care of you on that endo. And then outside of that, that pretty much sums it up. You can interact with the show with go to callinradio.com. That's an easy process to do. And then you have the other options of doing, the aspect of the social media aspect, but I kind of don't really pay attention to that until after the show, because that's just kind of how my life rolls with some of the stuff that's going on. And we talk about safety in the news. We talk about safety, and we talk about the news, and then we talk about news and safety in the news, and we talk about some of the things that are going on. And sometimes we tend to forget how important it is, just some of the little things that we get to do around here. And remember, this is hour number 1 of 3 hours that we do here. Hour 2 and 3 are on radiobig.fm. And right now, you have the possibility of streaming us across iHeartRadio. Yes, iHeartRadio is part of the aspect of everything that's going on right here. So kind of a cool workaround with some stuff. So don't worry about that. So let's bring in the professional broadcasters, because they're waiting in the wings of wings to let you know what the hell is going on inside of the world of the news. So let's do that. What does this button do? Well, it doesn't do anything. So let's do that inside of the world of the news, and let the professional broadcasters tell you what the hell is going on.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
NBC News Radio, I'm Michael Kastner. The Supreme Court is expected to announce its ruling on the abortion medication mifepristone today. Earlier this month, a federal judge ruled production and distribution of the drug be halted nationwide. Both the Justice Department and pharmaceutical industry support FDA approval of the drug, which underwent years of testing before its approval in 2000. The White House says there's a gun violence epidemic in the United States. Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre spoke on the recent string of mass shootings, as well as the shooting of a black teen who rang the wrong doorbell in Missouri.
It feels like every week, at least once a week, I come to the podium and I talk about this gun violence epidemic that we're seeing across the country, and how our communities and families across America, yet again, have been devastated by tragic acts of gun violence.
She called it unacceptable and said Congress needs to take action to pass gun reform. She called out Republicans who attended last week's NRA meeting following mass shootings in Nashville and Louisville, saying they're racing to the bottom on laws that erode gun safety. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy is set to visit Israel later this month in what will be his first foreign trip in the role. He made the announcement Tuesday, saying the visit will commemorate Israel's 75th year of statehood. Senate Republicans are blocking an attempt by Democrats to temporarily replace California Senator Dianne Feinstein on the Judiciary Committee. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer wanted a unanimous consent to make the decision, which was blocked by Lindsey Graham. House Democratic leaders say it should be up to Senator Feinstein to decide her own future in the Senate.
It's up to Senator Feinstein to decide her own timeline. She is a legend in California politics and a legend in the Senate chamber.
Feinstein has been recovering from shingles away from Washington. Michael Kastner, NBC News Radio.
You are listening to something magical. You're listening to the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Ollie Barrett. Heavy fighting has continued in Sudan despite a humanitarian ceasefire that was supposed to be in place. UK inflation dipped last month, but only down to 10.1%. A fire at a hospital in Beijing's killed 21 people. And Fox News has settled with Dominion Voting Systems for $787 million, just ahead of the start of a much-anticipated trial for defamation.
Safety never sounded so terrible. Rated R Safety Show.
Hey, are you tired of hanging around and talking about safety in a boring kind of format? Well, I got something for you. If you haven't hung out with us yet at safetyfm.com, I'm going to encourage you to do so. Yeah, if you come out to Safety FM, you can come hang out with all kinds of safety professionals. Some are safety professionals, some are just people that are talking about safety. But we want to do it in a format that makes it fun and entertaining. If you're kind of trying to figure out what the FM portion is, well, we're a radio station and also a podcast network. You can come out, hang out, listen to my show, The Jay Allen Show. You can listen to Todd Conklin with the pre-accident investigation, Blaine J. Hoffman with the Safety Pro, the Hop Nerd, Sam Goodman, just to name a few on what can be found on the station. Different things for different people, trying to bring safety in an entertaining form. SafetyFM.com. Go to the website, download the app, and carry it with you all day long. SafetyFM.com. We'll be waiting for you.
There will be no trial in the Dominion Voting Systems defamation lawsuit against Fox News. Lisa Taylor with more.
This comes after a special master was appointed to investigate Fox News' handling of discovery at its defamation trial. Dominion sued Fox News for $1.6 billion for allegedly spreading misinformation about their voting machines after the 2020 election. Last week, the judge blasted Fox News for not handing evidence over in a timely manner. The two sides reached a settlement of $787 million. I'm Lisa Taylor.
Fox News still faces a $2.7 billion lawsuit from another company, Smartmatic, which is another voting technology company, says Fox News spread lies that decimated its business. The head of Homeland Security is reacting to reports that the U.S. government had access to direct messages that were sent through the social media site Twitter. Alejandro Mayorkas says this was only used during criminal investigations.
I can assure you that it is not our job, nor do we do it to censor speech.
Twitter's owner Elon Musk revealed the access during an interview with Fox's Tucker Carlson. He says the revelation blew his mind. President Biden and First Lady Jill Biden have released their 2022 federal income tax return. Chris Coraggio with more.
Their gross income of just over $579,000 was a decrease from 2021. The couple last year paid a little more than $137,000 in federal income tax, a tax rate of slightly less than 24%. Meantime, Vice President Kamala Harris and her husband, Doug Emhoff, reported a federal adjusted gross income of just under $457,000 in 2022.
More than one-third of Americans live in places with unhealthy air pollution levels, according to the latest annual report by the American Lung Association. The association's 24th State of the Air report out today found 120 million people living in areas where the air was rated unhealthy in 2022. Michael Kastner, NBC News Radio.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Hey, Dad, your prescription will be ready in just a minute. Hey, Dad, your laundry will be ready in just a minute. Dad, your lunch will be ready in just a minute.
Hey, honey, why don't you take a minute?
When you help care for a loved one, you give them as much time as you can, making sure they're safe and comfortable. But it's just as important that you take some time for yourself. At AARP, we can help with information and useful tips on how you can maintain a healthy life balance, care for your own physical and mental well-being, and manage the challenges of caring for a loved one. Because the better care you take of yourself, the better care you can provide for your loved one.
Thanks, Dad.
Thank you. You're there for them. We're here for you. Find free care guides to support you and your loved one at aarp.org/caregiving. That's aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
All right, class. Let's hear what everyone did this weekend. Jill?
Well, I raised my older sister to a big oak tree. It was at least 100 years old. My mom said I must have set a record or something. And then we went down by a stream and perched up on this huge rock and saw all these little minnows swimming around way below us. And then I rescued my little brother from an evil slug king who was guarding him at the bush fortress. And my sister and I brought him back to our super twig fort for safety. And then we all laid out and told stories until it got dark. And the Big Dipper led us all the way home.
Wow, awesome. Where were you, Jill?
Yeah. We went to the forest. It's not that far away. Anyone want to come this weekend?
Ask your parents to take you and your friends to the forest this week and find the fun, adventurous you. It's closer than you think. Check out discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Do you have a claim and not sure where to turn? Coastal Claim Consultants are professionally licensed and bonded public insurance adjusters employed exclusively by you, the policyholder, to represent you after sustaining an insured loss. They assist policyholders in all aspects of processing the claim, working closely with the insured to provide the most equitable and timely settlement possible. They will provide you with comprehensive service, anything from inspecting the loss site, analyzing damages, compiling claim support data, reviewing applicable coverages, assessing replacement costs of damages, and negotiating your settlement. The adjusters at Coastal Claim Consultants will evaluate your claim for no upfront cost whatsoever. Coastal Claim Consultants' fee is based on contingency contracts and are paid when the insurance company sends you a check and it's in your possession. Coastal Claim Consultants are licensed to assist you in the following states: Florida, Texas, Oklahoma, Georgia, and South Carolina. For more information, go to coastal-cc.com. That's coastal-cc.com. For more information, lighting the way to recovery. Coastal Claim Consultants.
Listen to our host of the Rated R Safety Show. Self-implode on our airwaves. Only on Safety FM.
Okay, only on Safety FM and apparently Radio Big, which has not been added to that ad. So there you go. So anyways, currently 16 minutes past the top of the hour. And yes, because, they tell you not to talk about it. The news dumped. So that was part of the issue. So the news dumped and we had no news. So that was why the issue of the issue of the issue. And that's what happens. And I try to keep it as realistic as possible with everything going on. So I just tell you what's happening, opposed to it being some made up stuff. So there you go. So let's start. Apparently all kinds of weird stuff, all kinds of clicks and pops and weird things going on today. And that's okay. Do you hear that? Do you hear the feedback coming from my mic? Now we have to work on that. How fun. Let me do something real quick as we are talking, because all kinds of stuff is going on today. So as I was looking around, and I'm going to tell you what the hell was going on inside of the shit list, here you go. Just weeks after the system failure that stranded thousands of passengers over the holiday, Southwest Airlines had another major outage Tuesday that stopped all flights across the U.S. Fortunately, the outage only lasted about half an hour, and it started around 10:30 a.m. But in that window, 800 flights were grounded, 1,700 flights were delayed, and the rest of the day, many full planes sat idle on runways. According to various social media reports, the Department of Transportation probe is currently scrutinizing whether Southwest routinely schedules more flights than the system can manage. Now, let me tell you this, because I thought this was interesting. The flight that I was on yesterday was delayed by 2 hours. And I mean, I have never been at an airport where I was looking at people cry because they were stranded, according to what they were saying, of course. Now, the weird thing is, I don't even know what being stranded is anymore at an airport, because I don't really think that you ever are stranded at an airport. I mean, they normally do give you some level of options, but I felt like there was some drama in the air yesterday in that particular regards. But I guess everybody has to go through their own thing when it's all said and done. Anyways, let me try something real quick, because I got some static in the mic. And listen, I tell you how it is. It's live radio, so we do it live here. We do it live. So let me do this. Let me jump over here and take a look at the Today in Politics. So let's give you that as I work on this for just one momento. For you can take a listen to what the hell is going on inside of there.
The Supreme Court is expected to announce its ruling on the abortion medication mifepristone today. Earlier this month, a Texas federal judge ruled production and distribution of the drug be halted nationwide. The Biden administration appealed that ruling. The White House says there's a gun violence epidemic in the U.S. Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre spoke on the recent string of mass shootings, as well as the shooting of a black teen who rang the wrong doorbell in Kansas City, Missouri.
It feels like every week, at least once a week, I come to the podium and I talk about this gun violence epidemic that we're seeing across the country and how our communities and families across America, yet again, have been devastated by tragic acts of gun violence.
She says Congress needs to take action to pass gun reform. President Biden and First Lady Jill Biden releasing their 2022 federal income tax return, their gross income of just over $579,000, a decrease from 2021. That's Today in Politics. Brad Siegel, NBC News Radio.
So when you start talking about tax returns, you know that you're having a very exciting day inside of the world of broadcasting. I mean, just think about that for a moment. Anyways, the Canadian Broadcasting Company is one of the most, recent states-backed media outlets to talk about things that are going down at Twitter, the government-funded media label to their profile. So, but there you go. But their defense wasn't very strong as they argued that they're less than 70% government funded. And so on Monday, Twitter changed the label to now it's 69% government funded. And Elon Musk pointed out on a tweet of his own. So there you go. I mean, it seems like a lot of people are not loving these labels that are coming across inside of the multiverse of things as the things do happen. So I don't know. It's interesting to see just in that particular regards. Anyways, did you know that the Green Harbor gummy bear is actually strawberry flavored? Yes, it's news to you too. You're not alone. This resurfaced from a Reddit post of the gummy bear eaters shook over the fact that the green gummy is not lime, green apple, or even watermelon flavored. Did you know that even though it's a Green Herbal gummy bear is the strawberry flavored one? One of the users wrote alongside that they didn't know this, that was the gummy bear flavor. Fun fact, the name Haribo comes from the first two letters of the creator, Hans Riegel. So there you go. First and last name combined with the first two letters and the city where he was born. So there you go. Bonn, Germany. So some stuff going on right there as we are talking. I have to tell you this, I have this weird thing that happens when I start listening to stuff, and it drives me crazy when I hear static in my headphones. So let's see if I change headphones and if it goes away. But it does not sound like that is the factoid of what is going on. So let's see if we can get some static worked out, because that seems like what is going on, and that's what happens. I tell it to you in real time. So let's do this. Let's do the health beat moment just for a moment for you to take a listen what the hell's going on.
Maryland Governor Wes Moore says his state is going to be a leader when it comes to protecting reproductive health. The Democrats said on ABC's This Week that Maryland will have at least a 3-year stockpile of the abortion drug mifepristone.
This is the first time that we've actually seen a Supreme Court actively working to take rights away from people. Maryland is going to be a state where we are going to protect reproductive health and reproductive rights.
The state legislature recently passed bills focusing on increasing access and privacy, as well as making sure women who come to Maryland don't feel criminalized. A federal judge is temporarily blocking the state of Colorado from enforcing a new law that bans the use of a hormone that reverses the effects of an abortion pill. A faith-based healthcare clinic said the law violates its constitutional rights to free speech as well as to religious freedom. Health updates, Sarah Lee Kessler, NBC News Radio.
Okay, thank you, Sarah Lee Kessler, for the information right there of what is going on inside of the world. Because, hey, listen, we need to know all this stuff on what is going on, because some people go, hey, I don't know if I need to know this information. I kind of always feel like this is one of those need to know things, not a need to something else. Just something to think about, of course, as we are talking. Anyways, let's continue taking a look at what the hell is going on according to the list. 5 French cyclists spent 6 days biking around central France to complete the world's largest GPS drawing of a bicycle by this team. After more than a year of planning, Florissant Bernard, Maximum Begrard, Frank Delamour, Nicholas Minier, who cares? Set out in November of 2022 to create the largest drawing of a velociparator measuring 636 miles. The dinosaur drawing took about 43 hours and 47 minutes to complete. The journey was recognized by the Guinness World Records books as the largest GPS drawing of by a bicycle team this year. This year? So hold on, there's been a bigger set. That's the other thing that comes about. This isn't the team that the first dino drawing in 2020. A team drew a T-Rex followed by I don't even know what the hell to say there. Another dinosaur in 2021. So there you go. So I don't know. So let's talk about this because I don't know how long you've been hanging around with Netflix. You know, some people like Netflix, some people hate Netflix, and I just think it's a flicks of a net. So there you go. With that being said, I want to talk about this. It's the end of an era at Netflix. It is shutting down its DVD by mail operation entirely later this year. Existing subscribers to the mail-in plan can keep ordering disc until September the 29th. The last order will have to be returned by the end of October. So there you go. For those born after 2000, Netflix's original model was revolutionary. You selected just about any movie that you could think of online. The next day, it would show up in the mail, and you would put it into your DVD player. And then when you were done, you would just mail it back in the pre-labeled envelope. The 2000s were wild. So there you go. You wouldn't have to go to a video store back in the day. You could just do Netflix by mail. So that was revolutionary at the time. And a lot of people really tend to like that. And all of a sudden now this is coming to an end. I remember when the streaming thing came about, people were like, what? How is that going to work? Well, apparently it worked out extremely well. So take a listen to this. Let's talk about the charts, the top 5 fiction and nonfiction books currently on the New York Times bestsellers list. And according to the fiction category, let's get into that. At number 5, the 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. That was at number 5. At number 4 was Daisy Jones and the Six. At number 3, Lessons in Chemistry. At number 2, It Ends With Us. At number 1, It Starts With Us. So there you go. Some stuff going on right there. According to the nonfiction category, it goes something like this. At number 5 was Spare. At number 4, I'm Glad My Mom Died. At number 3, Crying in H Mart. Not Kmart, but H Mart. And The Body Keeps the Score was the other one. And Outlive Peter Antesia. So there you go. That was in the number 1 spot. So I guess things are getting differente as we are talking inside of that worldo, because that is what is going on. So what do you think? Are you excited about what the hell's happening there? Or could you care less and just go, okay, this is more than a feeling. So there you go. Just some stuff as we are talking. So let's do this real quick. Let's bring some John Smalls into our life and let him tell us about what the hell's going on with the market beat.
Here's your Market Beat Minute for Friday, September 9th, 2022. The S&P 500 wobbled Thursday, but managed to end the day higher despite hawkish commentary from the FOMC. FOMC Chief Jerome Powell reiterated once again the committee's commitment to fighting inflation and bringing it back down to the 2% range. Based on the recent string of inflation data, this means a high probability for another 75 basis point hike, making this the most aggressive FOMC on record. Next week, the market will face its final hurdle before September FOMC meeting. The CPI report is due out Wednesday and may show a month-to-month decline in inflation due to lower gas prices. But the core year-over-year figures are expected to remain hot. This data will support another rate hike, if not a 75 basis point hike, so there is a chance for the market volatility. Weak data, better than expected, or strong data, worse than expected, will move the market. You can get the inside track from Wall Street's brightest minds delivered directly to your inbox every day at MarketBeatMinute.com.
I don't know what happened there. I don't know if you know this, but we are definitely not in September. That's something to throw out there just in case. Let me tell you what I was able to find. The Dow lost about 10 points to close at 33,976 on Tuesday. The S&P added about 3 points to close at 4,154, and NASDAQ lost about 4 points to close at 12,153. West Texas Intermediate closed at $80 a barrel, and Brent crude was at $84 a barrel. The national average price of a gallon of gas was down, well, not down because it's right at $3.67 on Tuesday. Bitcoin rebounded on Tuesday, adding about 3% to trading over just at $30,300. There was more than 4,500 flights delayed within, into, and out of the United States on Tuesday, with about 100 cancellations. Tonight's Powerball drawing will be for $251 million jackpot, or $133.8 million cash payout. So if you want to play the game, there you go. Let me tell you about this real quick so you know that Coachella occurred over the weekend. Well, take a listen to this. The first weekend of Coachella cost organizers just over $117,000 in fine for going past a curfew. The rep of the city of Indio, California, told TMZ that the deal is in place with the annual festival that is Friday and Saturday shows must end by 1 a.m. and Sunday wraps up by midnight. Last Friday, the show ran over by 25 minutes. Saturday, they ran over by 22 minutes. And on Sunday, there was over just another 25 minutes. According to the outlet, the fines go into Indio General Fund, which is used for operating costs such as public works, police, and fire department. The second weekend, the musical festival kicks off on Friday. So it will be interested to see what is going on. Also, in some other news from Florida, residents are convinced that aliens swooped down to enjoy Taylor Swift's concert last weekend after seeing some strange lights in the night sky near Raymond James Stadium. Footage of a band of lights have even shared on TikTok, or many commenting that it's a extraterrestrial look to them. While there was lights at 99.99% of Swift shows, we're just can't be 100% certain these days on what the hell is going on. So there you go. So I don't know. Just kind of a weirdo thing of the things that were going on, but people were essentially freaking out for sure about what was going on. Take a listen to this. A 15-year-old boy is dead and 3 teens are injured after getting hit by a fleeing driver near a high school in Thousand Oaks. This woman was at work across the street when it all went down.
I just heard sirens like crazy, like they did not stop.
The deadly collision happened while the students were waiting for a bus near Westlake High School about 3:40 in the afternoon on Tuesday. Investigators believe that the suspect, a 24-year-old man, intentionally ran into them. The suspect was wanted on suspicion of stabbing a Walmart employee in Simi Valley about an hour earlier. Investigators say that he was in a domestic dispute with a family member in Caramarillo. A short time later, then ran into a teens of the Thousand Oaks. The surviving victims of the collision are a 16-year-old, a 14-year-old, and a 15-year-old. All 4 crash victims have been identified as Westlake High School students. This woman wonders what the hell the suspect was thinking.
Why on earth would anybody be driving in a way that would make your car end up like that at a bus stop moments away from where children are?
Well, there's probably a lot of things to talk about there, but nothing that's going to be very nice to say. So let's keep it in that fashion. Anyways, it is currently 32 minutes past the top of the hour, so let's do that thing that we do, because why wouldn't we? Let's go ahead and get into the main story.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
Oh, sometimes we get to talk about some things that are so interesting around here that I kind of go, what the hell is going on, and what is the thought process as we are talking? And then sometimes we get to talk about some stuff, and I go, I'm not even sure what is going on in the world anymore. And, sometimes you and I have this difficult thing that we have to talk about things that are not very, well, we'll say pleasurable, and I don't want you to go into some perv mode as I say that, but let's talk about this. There is times in our life that we have to talk about what we're willing to accept, and there's times in our life that we have to talk about how the organization might need to accept something that they're not too keen on accepting. And what am I talking about here today? I want you to think about this. You know that throughout the years, we have spoken on this show and many other shows on Safety FM about how we need to take a look at different aspects of the world and how we need to be willing to accept some things that might not be so pleasant that occurred. And listen, We don't want people at our jobs to be injured. We don't want people at our jobs to die. And we want to make sure that we're building so much capacity within our systems that we're able to do some things that might be considered out of the ordinary, out of, the normal realm of possibility, but we kind of think about it and move forward with it. Now, today as we're talking, I want you to think about this. What are we willing to accept in our systems? Because I know there has been this giant push of this belief system of the drive to zero. And zero injury is just the coup de grace of everything that is going on. The drive to zero is so important to some. But I want you to think about this. Imagine that you have a worker that is wearing a harness for the job that they're doing. And all of a sudden, they fall off whatever they were at, and this harness catches them. And boom, when it catches them, they run into the side of a building. They run into the side of a tree, whatever you want to deem, as they swing out and they're being caught by the harness. And all of a sudden, they crack their ribs. But remember, they cracked their ribs and they did not fall to their death because the harness caught them, because of the fall protection on how it's built. How is it that we take a look at this as a potential failure because there was cracked ribs? Think about that for a moment. We're not putting into consideration that the harness did its job in catching the person on the way down. Because that's the purpose of the harness. We look at it as a failure because there was cracked ribs. We look at it as a failure that the harness did a job. But look at the bright side. The person did not die. And that's where you start having that conversation. At what point are we willing to accept harm? Are we willing to accept where somebody got injured? So are we okay with cracked ribs over someone dying? And when you kind of put it into perspective, yes, I understand we don't want anybody injured, but I know for damn sure that I'd rather take the cracked ribs than someone die. Because we have all been built with this thing where we're supposed to believe in this board system that we've had zero incidents in this many days at our workplace. And that is such an important aspect, while not looking at other aspects of our systems where we go, okay, the cracked ribs are so much more valuable than the actual death that could have potentially occurred. And yes, an injury is an injury, but I will take that injury every day opposed to having to make that call where I get to say, hey, your loved one died at work today. Think about it. At what point are we willing to accept cracked ribs over a death? Because I believe that until this day, people still struggle with that aspect because they are so gung-ho that we need to be driving to zero.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You are listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
Let's start using cutting-edge warp speed 5G technology with your cell phone. Let me tell you about my friends at mobile.io. They have an ultra-fast 4G LTE and 5G network that covers 99% of Americans. So they've got you covered everywhere. Think about it for a moment. You have the opportunity to take a test drive for 10 days with unlimited talk, text, and premium data. What is premium data? Premium data is an allotment of a cellular data that you receive from a higher priority on the network. You won't get throttled like you will with some of those, non-brand service providers. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to mobile.io. mobilemobile.io. That's mobilemobile.io to start your 10-day free trial.
To some people, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much. But that's not necessarily true. By 6 months, they're combining vowels and consonants. By 9 months, they're trying out different kinds of sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on some meaning. Especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Early screening and intervention can make a lifetime of difference and unlock a world of possibilities. Take the first step at autismspeaks.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
The following is made possible by Dad.
Why was the basketball court all wet? Because the players kept dribbling all over it.
The dad joke. Corny, grown-worthy, but also one of the simplest ways to share a moment with your kids.
Why do you have to be careful when it's raining cats and dogs? Because you might step in a poodle.
And kids that spend more time with their dads grow up to be smarter, more successful.
Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding.
And with any luck, funnier adults.
Why didn't the skeleton go to the dance? Because he didn't have anybody to go with.
Dad jokes rule. So take a moment to make a moment and give your kid a laugh. It's as easy as going to fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
That's really funny.
Have you ever wanted to start live streaming and were not sure how to do it? You can start live streaming up to 40 social media platforms all at one time for as little as nada. It's going to cost you your time. That is what it's going to cost. You can pre-record, you can live stream, you can do a multitude of things. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to safetyfm.com/one. That's safetyfm.com, ONE.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hackneyed? Safety trainers still preaching a warped version. How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
Radio.
USA, Canada, UK.
Where's the crown? You better back down. You better back down. I'm the greatest of all time. I'm the greatest of all time. I'm the greatest of all time. I'm the greatest of all. I'm the greatest of all.
Oh, nothing better than being the greatest of all time. Yeah, that's what Kid Penny's saying right there. Yeah, greatest of all time.
A champion don't need any introduction.
So there you go. You can give it a little streamer action right there. YouTube Music, Apple Music, and Spotify. Kid Penny, greatest of all time. Thank you for allowing us to play this here on the Rated R Safety Show. Yeah, a little fancy action as we are doing it well. You know, I get hung up on music all the time. That's the way it comes across. So thank you. Greatest of all time. So there you go. Anyways, let's see. 43 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out, because that is what we do around here. Thanks again to Kid Penny for allowing us to play this. So let me talk to you real quick. Yeah, let me talk to you. And let's talk about some things that are going on. And I want to tell you about this organization because I legitimately love this organization. And I don't want to lie about this. But as you see, I if you are on the video aspect, I wear these bracelets all the time, and realistically all the time. I can't even tell you when was the last time I took any of these bracelets off because I wear them so frequently. But if you have not heard of this organization called To Write Love on Her Arms, yes, To Write Love on Her Arms, they have a website, twloha.com. That's twloha.com. And listen, they will help you if you are struggling with mental health, suicidal thoughts. They have on their website just a whole section related to self-care, where you can get help, how you can actually get, things to go in a different aspect. There's everything that you can think of if you are struggling mentally in regard to there. Listen, they have a store, they have a way to donate, they have a way to get involved, and they even reference some of the events that they have going out throughout the different aspects of the world on where they do things. And I'm going to tell you, if you are going to be in Florida, let's see, on April the 29th, and you are in the Melbourne area, yes, that's Melbourne, Florida, which is right on the outskirts of Orlando, I would recommend strongly going to an event that they have going on, which it's called the Show Up Fest. And this particular fest right there is going to run from 11 a.m. till 3 p.m. And it's all about wellness. They'll have some food trucks there, some interactive experiences, and some family-friendly activities. And they will also have mental health bug packs available for the first 120 people, I believe it is, that will be there. So listen, I'm going to tell you, if you can't make it, that's fine. But there are all kinds of resources on their website, twloha.com. I have to say, I've just been so enamored with this company in regards to what they do and have been a big fan. If you ever buy a shirt from their website or from their store in person, it's amazing because inside of the shirt, they normally have some kind of messaging inside of there that's related to mental health. I have always just been super impressed by them. twloha.com. Also, you could go there just for the aspect of how to get involved. And if you are needing a way to find help, there's all kinds of information on there. You can go in, look for the resource that you're looking for, put in the zip code, and they'll let you know what's available. So, To Write Love on Her Arms, twloha.com. Let's start getting into some new stuff and some things that are going on inside of the world, and let's start talking about it. So, I have not mentioned this, even though we're 47 minutes in. It is Whip 'em Out Wednesday. When I'm gone for a day, it throws me off of my kilter that I keep on thinking today's Tuesday. It's not Tuesday. It's Whip 'em Out Wednesday. How could I, pass up on such a big thing? So let's talk about that buns. So this has been getting a bit of attention. It was announced on Monday, but I'd be totally off the brand if I didn't chime in on it. So McDonald's is making improvement to the Big Five burger, the Big Mac, the double burger, the cheeseburger, the double cheeseburger, and the hamburger. The fast food giant says that upgrades include softer, pillowy, golden brown buns and goosier cheese and juicier caramelized taste as onions will be placed on patties while they're still on the grill. In addition, the Big Mac will feature more signature sauce. The updated recipe is currently being offered in the U.S. West Coast places like L.A., San Francisco, Las Vegas, and Seattle, among other cities. By early 2024, the upgrades will be available nationwide. The changes are the first tested in Canada, Australia, and Belgium, where McDonald's said they received rave reviews. So I don't suppose that it really matters which burgers have been improved because it's pretty much a crapshoot, which you'll end up getting through the drive-thru anyway. So, I mean, what does it really matter? And also, what well-run company that yet another smart move of McDonald's Cielo. You get it? Cielo. Cielo. So there you go. I mean, let's talk about this real quick. So the scientists at McDonald's have come up with a good idea on what the hell they're going to do to their food. I mean, that's what it sounds like.
Who truly cares what this guy has to say? Who gives a shit? Rated R Safety Show.
Yeah, here's the crap what I had to say. Anyways, listen to this. Many women probably won't be surprised to hear this, but a Pew Researcher study finds that when wives earns about the same as their husband or more, they still spend more time on housework and childcare. What more, their husbands spend more time on paid work and leisure. Pew noted that even as financial contributions have become more equal in marriages, the way that couples divide their time between paid work and home life remains unbalanced. Husbands in these marriages were found to spend about 3.5 hours more per week in leisure activities than wives. The wives in these marriages spend roughly about 2 hours more per week in caregiving than husbands do, and about 2.5 hours more of housework. The study found that nearly 29% of heterosexual marriages today, women and men, earn about the same, roughly about $60,000 each, which about 55% of opposite-sex marriages, men are the primary sole breadwinners, earning a median income of $96,000. In 16% of marriages, the wives out-earn the husbands as a primary breadwinner, earning a median of about $88,000. Sorry, honey, but when I said that I'd do anything for you, I didn't mean actually do stuff around the house. I suppose that it points out how shallow a person I am. That I am my first reaction to the story was, where can I find one of these women? So I mean, maybe that's something to talk about. In some other news, how much do you love this idea? Mosquito season is all year round. Scientists are saying that that's a possibility thanks to artificial light in today's well-lit city. It seems that these days mosquitoes are waking up sooner than from their winter slumber and could be a major health issue when carrying on diseases like the West Nile virus. A new study out of Ohio State University found that the lights that we use every day in our homes and cities are disrupting mosquito behavior. And while the changes suggest that mosquitoes may not survive all the way into the winter, they will still be active. It also implies that they're biting much longer into the fall. Correction, this study implies that these days a mosquito sucks more than ever. So there you go. And then definitely this is a buzz killer, or rather the exact opposite if you really start thinking about it, because that's some stuff to give some thought process to. There is no doubt about it. So I guess after receiving that kind of bad news, why don't we bring some John Small inside of here and let him tell us what the hell is going on with the Motivation Minute, because I think we need some motivating in our life. So let's do that right now.
The Motivation Minute is courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. Today's quote was submitted by Cole. Thomas Jefferson said, "If a nation expects to be ignorant and free, it expects what never was and never will be." I like that quote. Think about how close to home this might hit at times. We can't expect to be free if we ignore what's happening. Now, I'm not asking you to take up arms, that's a bit much, but it makes sense to pay attention to what's happening for sure. For a while, I was too informed. I would watch the news for hours every day. I had it out of my office. I would listen to the news on the radio. I would read more information about the things I was interested in. Now, I avoid the news in most places, and I seek out the truth rather than the narrative I had been spoon-fed for years. This has been today's Motivation Minute, courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. They're known for insurance quotes. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Your Wellness Minute is brought to you by AlessaMorgan.com. When we experience cravings for sweets, it's easy to assume that they arise due to the effect of the taste. But in reality, they come just as much from nutritive properties of what sugar does to the brain. Because so many cells, organs, and tissues require glucose in order to function, our bodies have neural machinery dedicated to picking out foods that contain sugar. There are two neural parallel pathways. One responds to the taste and perception of taste, and the other is related to the nutritive components of consuming sweets, meaning the degree to which the food will raise blood glucose. So when you are craving a piece of chocolate, you are both craving the taste and craving the nutritive components that come with that taste. And simply understanding that allows you to circumvent some of the sugar cravings that are otherwise difficult to resist. For more information on wellness, check out AlessaMorgan.com.
Bringing you Information you never knew you cared about. Rated R Safety Show.
I thought that was the whole aspect of the show, bringing you information that you don't care about, because that's kind of what we do around here. That is for sure, so. So anyways, let's take a look. 54 minutes past the top of the hour. So what does that mean for you? Well, that means that our show is coming close to an end, unless you go into hour number 2 and hour number 3 that you can listen to on RadioBig.fm, which you can also listen to on TuneIn Radio, iHeartRadio, and you kind of name it, and we're streaming on there in some way, shape, or form. And let's make sure that I am clear here. We are streaming, so all you have to do is go to iHeartRadio and then look for Radio Big, and you'll find us inside of the stream reamer there, not just in the podcasting section. Anyways, let's talk about some things that happened back on this date. And as I take a look around, let's go into 2020. The U.S. COVID-19 death toll passes 40,000, with more than 740,000 cases reporting, according to Johns Hopkins. Also on this day, the UK COVID death tolls were at 16,060. The Sunday Times criticizes Prime Minister Boris Johnson's response to the virus, saying that he sleepwalked into the disaster. That was back in 2020. Let's talk about some birthdays that are going on today. Matt Salto turns 22. Joe Hart, 36. Maria Sharapova, I can't even speak, 36. Candace Parker, 37. Troy Polamalu turns 42. Hayden Christensen turns 42. Kate Hudson turns 44. What else? Joanna Gaines, 45. James Franco, 45. Jesse James, 54. Ashley Judd, 55. Sue Knight, 58. Tim Curry turned 77. That's some birthdays that are going on today. If you're looking at some days of the year to celebrate for today, here you go. It's National Banana Day, National Hanging Out Day. Hold on, it's National Banana Day and then National Hanging Out Day? Okay. Bicycle Day, National Garlic Day, National Armoretta Day, Poetry and Creative Mind Day, and National Rice Ball Day. So there you go. Some rice ball action going your way, if that's what you're looking for. So there you go. If you need a random joke for today, I'm pretty sure I can come up with one of those for you. A fan club is a group of people that tell someone he's not alone the way that he feels, that he's not alone in the way that he feels about himself. So there you go. That's one. If you need a phone starter for today, try this. What was really popular and then it disappeared? I would almost have to say those hoverboard things. They were super popular, and then they just seemed to vanish into thin air. No, seriously. That was not a burnout joke either. Just throwing that out there.
Safety never sounded so terrible. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, if you need a phone starter or not a phone starter, I already gave you that. If you need something for the water cooler, try this. In a survey asking, what is the hardest driving maneuver? The number one answer was parallel parking. What was number 2? Backing into a spot was number 2. Out of all things to think about, that's what came into number 2. Well, with it being Wednesday, let's talk about some whack facts real quick. Contrary to what you may have heard, redheads aren't actually going extinct. Women tend to strike matches away from themselves, while men tend to strike them towards themselves. I mean, go figure that. Men and women who listen to similar music tend to have better communication and have longer-lasting relationships. What if you don't listen to music at all? I probably should be in a relationship anyways. During the Elizabethan times, the customary for a wife was to wear her wedding ring on her thumb. Riding a roller coaster can help you pass your kidney stones, especially if you are seated in the rear car. Why? Does that mean you're going to piss yourself in some way, shape, or form? I'm just asking the question. And then, according to a poll of doctors, a lawyer are the worst tippers. So there you go. Doctors and lawyers are the worst tippers. So good information to know. So that's it. Anyways, that's going to sum up our time together. If you stay out here on Safety FM, you'll get to be able to hang out with Sheldon Primus and go and see what exactly is going on inside of the world of safety consulting, as that's what he talks about here on Safety FM. If you go over with me to RadioBig.fm, we'll hang out and do some music stuff and be informed inside of the world of music and entertainment. The choice is yours. That's always the good part about the whole thing. Thank you for being the best part of Safety FM and Radio Big, and that is the listener, because without you, it doesn't make us a lot of sense to do what we do around here. That is for sure. Well, if I can't leave you with a deep thought for today, I would love to leave you with this one. I am a great believer in luck and I find the harder I work, the more I have of it. So that's something to think about for today. So that is for sure. Anyways, thank you for hanging out. Come up to top of the hour if you want to come and do that kind of fun stuff, and we can go from there. Anyways, I know who you are.
Duh.
Enjoy Whip 'em Out Wednesday. I know who you are. You know who I am. Love you, mean it. Goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.